Matibabu ni bila malipo katika hospitali zote za serikali.
The most successful safari driver was Shekameta. Having competed no fewer than 20 times there, he took 5 WRC wins in Africa, making the Kenyan the undisputed king of safari.
The Engineers Board of Kenya is a statutory body established with the mandate of regulating, setting standards and registration of engineers and engineering consulting firms. The board, together with its stakeholders, will host the 4th Engineering Partnership Convention EPC 2023 from 14th to 16th June 2023 at Sawela Lodge in Naivasha. The theme of the convention is Transforming Kenya's Economy, Engineers' Contribution to Development, and aims to bring together policymakers, industry experts, academics, researchers, and Kenyan engineers. This event will be presided over by His Excellency President William Ruto. To register, visit www.events.ebk.go.ke/booking. Engineers Board of Kenya, enhancing professionalism. KBC is the official media partner.
Hazina ya fidia ya wanabima, the Policy Holders Compensation Fund, PCF, shirika la kiserikali chini ya hazina ya kitaifa na mipango ya kiuchumi iliyoanzishwa chini ya sheria ya bunge kwa jukumu la kulipa fidia kwa madai ya wanabima waliowekwa chini ya usimamizi wa serikali au wale ambao leseni zao zimebatilishwa. Hazina hii pia ilianzishwa kwa lengo la kuimarisha imani katika sekta ya bima. The Policy Holders Compensation Fund, dhamana ya bima yako.
If you value it, insure it. Manage your unforeseen medical expenses through medical insurance. Be sure to understand the terms and conditions in your insurance policy, such as waiting period, pre-existing conditions, your obligations, and the policy limits. Check the sub-limits in your cover to understand the maximum amount of cover per medical condition. Stay prepared for medical expenses by having medical insurance in place.
Now you know. IRA, promoting insurance, protecting the insured.
Good evening. From Nairobi, it's 9 p.m. this Tuesday, the 13th of June. Later on the program, my colleague Mari Yambo and the team on Scorecard will be looking at the budget. Yambo, what else should we expect tonight on Scorecard?
Good evening to you, Tom, and to our viewers back at home. So what we're expecting tonight is that we already know the finance bill has been something that has been discussed, since it was tabled in Parliament. And so tonight we want to interrogate the taxman, that is the Kenya Revenue Authority, on its capacity to be able to raise the 2.6 trillion shillings that the finance bill has taxed it to do so in the financial year 2023-2024. All that coming up in the Scorecard and much more.
Very well. Crunching the numbers, you don't want to miss that. But first things first, on this live broadcast, let's take a look at a summary of our headline stories tonight. Parliament proposes to exclude employer contributions from the house levy. Bandits kill 5 people and steal several herds of cattle. And Senate demands explanation from SRC on reduction of salaries. Many thanks indeed for joining us. Our socials at KBC Channel 1, my Twitter handle at Mboya24. Straight to our top story, and senators have tasked the Salaries and Remuneration Commission to justify the rationale used in regularizing salaries of judges, magistrates, and members of the county assemblies. While responding to a statement sought by Nandi Senator Samson Cheregai, senators summoned the Lynn Mengich-led commission to appear before its Finance and Labour committees to explain why MCA salaries were reduced and their sitting allowances removed. Senators allege the latest move by SRC was in bad faith and will affect governance in counties, and also service delivery in hospitals as well as courts. The lawmakers, who said the move violated the principles of fairness and equity, want SRC to also benchmark on how the 3 cadres are paid in other counties before embarking on deduction. Members of county assemblies in Embu and Nakuru have downed their tools over what they term as poor pay, with other counties threatening to follow suit.
State the rationale for the proposal to eliminate the non-practicing allowance, which is intended to compensate the judges and magistrates for forfeiting their legal practice. Number 3, Mr. Speaker, ascertain whether the review is within the principles of ensuring the judiciary can attract and retain the skills required to execute its function. And finally, Mr. Speaker, sir, provide information on the last time a lifestyle audit was conducted on the Commissioners of Salaries and Remuneration Commission, or SRC.
It ain't well when you find that half of the members of the county assembly have actually adjourned the assembly sine die to go and just wait out. The reality means it is going to look bad on the Senate, it is going to look bad on the government of the day, and it's going to look bad on everybody if we don't rationalize the salaries of Kenyans from top to bottom. Mr. Speaker, if it means you want to cut half the salaries of the presidency, half the salaries of the Senate, half the salaries of members of parliament, so be it.
It will also be equally important for us and for this House, on behalf of the people of Kenya, to be satisfied that this exercise that SRC is undertaking, number 1, will not undermine the principles of good governance. Number 2, the principle of attracting the best of talent to public service, Mr. Speaker. Because if we are not careful, Mr. Speaker, and we continue to imagine that because we find ourselves in a difficult fiscal position as a country, that the only solution is actually reducing on the earnings, Mr. Speaker, of those that are in offices, then people will move to the private sector or even change careers. Mr. Speaker, you know that brain drain is an alive situation in our country. Some of our best professors, some of our best doctors are switching careers from the public service because of such decisions.
And of course, remember, on Scorecard, Mary Yambo and team will be interrogating the state hitting the budget targets. Now, the National Assembly has approved the appointment of Noordin Haji to the office of the Director General of National Intelligence Service. Legislators said that Haji has the capacity and capability to handle the sensitive office, having served with immense dignity as Director of Public Prosecution. Lawmakers on Tuesday also approved Caroline Nzilani and former Bomet Governor Isaac Ruto as members of the Judicial Service Commission. Here's that report.
I, Noordin Mohammed Haji. The National Assembly's Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations that vetted DPP Nordin Haji 2 weeks ago on his appointment as the Director General of National Intelligence Service gave him the nod, touting his understanding of legal matters.
Those that were against also, we scrutinized and looked at their background, where they could sway the government, the committee's decision. But all those memos did not stand on legal grounds.
Sentiments echoed by legislators from the political divide who lauded his suitability as head of the spy agency.
What is coming out is Nordin is a quintessential, pragmatic intelligence officer, Mr. Speaker, and I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to contribute to the further transformation of our intelligence community.
I suppose that this country will be safer under the new leadership of the NIS.
Mr. Haji, as he takes office, that he needs to look into the new space of artificial intelligence, of robotics, of emerging technologies, so that he can up the game of intelligence in this country.
Haji, whose nomination was criticized by different quarters, including civil societies, on account of his dropping of high-profile cases, will be tasked with applying intelligence to tackle crime internally and externally.
And for that reason, is an institution that must be headed and guided by somebody who has the capacity, the knowledge, and the temerity to do the kind of work that is related to that institution, Mr. Speaker.
Wishing him well and hoping that he will act to ensure that he ignites intelligence services right at the sublocation level. That never again will Kenyans experience the Shakahola kind of tragedy. There were chiefs, there were intelligence officers in Malindi, in Kilifi, in Shakahola.
Haji will be replacing NIS DG Philip Kameru.
Declaration of nominees for appointment as members of the Judicial Service Commission.
Legislators also unanimously approved the appointment of Caroline Nzilani and former Bomet Governor Isaac Ruto as members of the Judicial Service Commission.
Madam Caroline Nzilani Kengoku Ajoga will bring a lot of experience to the Judicial Service Commission in terms of managing their HRs, make sure that the staff are motivated, making sure that the issues about missing files are over.
Kamchi Menza for Prime Edition.
President William Ruto continues to rally Kenyans to support affordable housing initiative by government. The head of state says decent housing should not be a privilege of the rich, but a basic need and a right for all Kenyans. He made the remarks at State House Nairobi when he hosted double world record holder Faith Chepngetich Kipyegon, who is now being referred to by some as Kenya's own Mummy Rocket, and Africa's 100-meter record holder Ferdinand Omanyala.
The house that we are giving to Faith. This is part of our affordable housing program. This house in Park Road, if it was built under the normal program, a 3-bedroom house in Park Road would be anywhere between 15 and 20 million. Owning a house should not be the privilege of the rich. It should be a necessity and a right to as many Kenyans as possible. This house has now been reduced to 6 million shillings, and that is what we are paying.
Meanwhile, the national government has committed to working with county governments to transform healthcare in the county. President William Ruto says the national government will support the devolved units in equipping health facilities to ensure citizens have accessible and also affordable high-quality medical services. He made those remarks in Kirinyaga County while officially opening the Keroche Level 5 County Referral Hospital Medical Complex. The head of state said that the national and county governments are generally agreed to form the Kenya Health Human Resource Advisory Council to address disputes between the government and health workers.
President William Ruto says the government, through Parliament, will establish a facility improvement fund that will ensure resources allocated to medical care are not diverted to other programs.
That resources that have been raised in the delivery of health is not diverted to other areas. Rather, it is used to improve facilities, to make sure that there is medicine, to make sure that there is delivery of service in all our hospitals, dispensaries, and other health facilities.
Speaking in Kirinyaga County, while officially opening of Keroche Level 5 County Referral Hospital Medical Complex, the head of state said the national and county governments have agreed to form the Kenya Health Human Resource Advisory Council to address disputes between the government and health workers.
The national government will support all our county governments to deliver on the primary subject of health in our country.
It is now up to us to ensure that we work together on the bottom, which you have advised, and we have agreed that we are shifting focus of health to promotive and preventive health.
As the chairperson of the Council of Governors, I can assure you that the devolution of healthcare services has had a significant impact. For the last 10 years, county governments have invested heavily in healthcare, service delivery, human resource development, equipment of health facilities, as well as health infrastructure development.
Terming devolution of the health function as a success, the president assured the government will also equip and standardize the training of community health promoters to ensure quality healthcare at the grassroots.
The health function will be better managed, has been better managed by our counties. That is how it's going to be going forward. Sisi tunaunga mkono, mimi ninaunga mkono, serikali ya Kenya inaunga mkono kazi inayofanyika katika counties hasa kwa mambo ya afya.
The Level 5 hospital will offer inpatient and outpatient services and has a fully equipped emergency wing with an operating theatre and 341 bed capacity that is set to ease pressure on Keroche Level 4 hospital. Michael Mondiga for Prime Edition.
Gender Commission wants the East African Legislative Assembly Member of Parliament David Ole Sankok to apologize over his derogatory statements. All that coming up after this short break. Don't go away.
Hazina ya fidia ya wanabima, the Policy Holders Compensation Fund, PCF, shirika la kiserikali chini ya hazina ya kitaifa na mipango ya kiuchumi iliyoanzishwa chini ya sheria ya bunge kwa jukumu la kulipa fidia kwa madai ya wanabima waliowekwa chini ya usimamizi wa serikali au wale ambao leseni zao zimebatilishwa. Hazina hii pia ilianzishwa kwa lengo la kuimarisha imani katika sekta ya bima. The Policy Holders Compensation Fund, dhamana ya bima yako.
Colgate Herbal is formulated from a unique blend of natural herbs and is scientifically proven to strengthen teeth and keep gums healthy. Try Colgate Herbal, scientifically proven for strong teeth and healthy gums.
Cheza Loto Moto.
Kwa majina naitwa Alex Odur, natoka Kamulu. Ashua leo imekuwa poa. Nilikuja na confidence nikijua naenda kuwin. Na nimewin 100,000 ndio hizi hapa. Wale wanacheza Loto Moto waendelee, ni kitu ya ukweli. Loto Moto, endelea kucheza kila siku.
Usisahau kucheza Loto Moto. Shinda milioni 2 kila siku kwenye M-Pesa. Chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number weka 757070. Account number andika neno Loto. Weka kiwango chochote cha pesa kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi 2,000. Lipa kisha subiri draw.
Welcome back, our socials at KBC Channel 1. My Twitter handle at Mboya24. Now, the National Assembly Finance Committee has proposed a review of housing levy from 3% down to 1.5%, but has retained the proposed value-added tax on fuel at 16%. Committee Chairperson Kimani Kuria tabled the committee's report that also proposes to lower the withholding tax on digital content creators from 15% to 5%. And as MPs prepare to debate the report tomorrow, remember, Azimio One Kenya has dismissed the amendments as negligible. Here's that report.
After 2 weeks of collecting public views on the Finance Bill 2023, the National Assembly Finance Committee tabled its report proposing review of some contentious clauses. The Kimani Kuria-led committee proposes a reduction of the proposed housing levy from 3% to 1.5% to be implemented from January 2024 and to be deducted to employees only. The committee also wants excise duty on local products removed to support the manufacturing sector, and the proposed withholding tax on digital content creators reviewed from 15% to 5%. The committee, however, endorsed Treasury's proposal to raise the value-added tax on fuel from 8% to 16%, with the majority party led by Kimani Ichung'wa terming it critical to sustain development.
That 16% VAT from 8% will help government raise about 56 billion shillings a year. You can imagine how much 56 billion shillings can do to unlock all those stalled road projects. And the ripple effect of 56 billion shillings going into roads construction and the kind of economic activities around the country when you deploy that money and those resources to the construction of roads.
Collection ya nchi yetu kwa sasa nyingi inaenda kwa kulipa deni, tunabaki na kidogo sana ile ambayo hatuwezi tukajikimu nayo. Kwa hivyo hii finance bill najua tutaumia kwa muda mfupi, lakini itakuja kugenerate job opportunities kwa watu.
And this finance bill has also its fair share of some good elements and some bad elements, and that's how the world is.
We are saying the amendment acceptable to us. We are achieving what the constitution says, the right to housing, and we are going to give Kenyan houses. So if the Azimio group have any other alternative, they should give us the alternative, unless they don't want to provide housing to their community.
But the minority party led by Opiyo Wandayi dismissing the proposed amendments to the finance bill as insignificant, vowing to oppose it for being punitive to poor Kenyans.
For as long as you have left the increment on VAT, on petroleum products, intact at 16%, anything else you do is neither here nor there. And we are going to oppose it. We are going to oppose it.
I'm not against taxing, but taxing with a plan. If I am to be taxed today, and I will be happy if my road has no pothole. If I am to pay taxes and I am happy, teachers are getting good incentives, because up until today teachers are getting paid peanuts.
So hata before hii kuje sikuwa na feel ile tax tunalipa inaenda wapi. Sasa kuongeza hii inatufanya tunahuzunika, tumekasirika. Sasa hii ni namna gani? Chakula hakuna, lakini sasa unafinya yule tayari amefinyika. Mimi nasimama na watu wangu wa Kisii County kupinga huu mswada na kusema no.
The tabling of the report on finance bill by the Finance Committee now sets the stage for members of the National Assembly to engage on revenue-raising measures proposed by Kenya Kwanza government. Reporting from Parliament, I'm Keroche Washira.
Finding a middle ground. Now, tension is high in Mutwati sub-county, that's in Igembe North, Meru County, after bandits killed 5 people, 4 of them being police reservists. The bandits also stole 2 guns and 500 head of cattle.
Bandits had raided several villages in Mutwati sub-county in Meru County on Monday night, killing 2 police reservists and stealing over 500 head of cattle. 2 other police reservists and a civilian then set out this morning to trail the stolen animals when they were attacked and killed by the bandits.
20 walikuwa pande, 20 pande, 10 pande, so in total walikuwa 50. Na ng'ombe zote zilikuwa 400 na ndio hapo walianza kutushambulia, ndio wakaua 3 wetu na wakanjeruhi mmoja. Na njoo naye kabla wachukue ng'ombe 2 nao waliua 2 wakajeruhi nao watu 4.
Kama tungekuwa na KPR, hii insecurity haingekuweko. Mimi naomba kabla siku 3-4 Kindiki akuye mpaka mali watu wameuliwa na atuambie tena ile kitu ametupangia, maana tutaongojea sisi tukufe mali iende. Sasa watu wa Mwadhi wote wamekuwa maskini.
The close to 50 bandits also stole 2 guns from the police reservist. The incident comes just a few weeks after Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki promised to beef up security in the area after the killing of a former member of County Assembly while pursuing stolen goats. 7 other victims of the raid are nursing injuries at a nearby health center. The area police boss has called on the residents to give any information that might help in the identification of the gang.
Walikuwa watu kama 40 na wengine walikuwa nyuma, ng'ombe zilikuwa ziko mbele. So tukaanza kushambuliana nao, ndipo kapiga vijana yangu wa NPR 2 na mwananchi mmoja. So wale wamejeruhiwa wote, wale wamejeruhiwa ni 5. Wale patimba wamefariki ni watu 5. So kwa wakati tunaendelea na hiyo operation. Tayari niko na kikosi ya jeshi wako upande ya Losesia na wengine wako area ya Kutu. Na hizo ng'ombe tunahakika zichavuka kuingia ndani ya Kom ama upande ya Merti huko ndani. Hizo ng'ombe siko ndani. So kama tungepata usaidizi ya ndege, sababu kule ndani kuingia imekuwa kichaka kidogo.
For Prime Edition, I'm Zainab Said.
From Meru, let's go to the corridors of justice, where a suspect was arraigned at a Bungoma court Tuesday for trafficking narcotics. Paul Sifuna wa Kapala was nabbed in possession of bang worth 14.8 million shillings while on transit from Uganda. He will remain in police custody until the 4th of July 2023, when the matter shall be mentioned.
According to the charge sheet, Paul Sifuna wa Kapala was on 12th June 2023 found trafficking cannabis weighing 296 kgs, estimated at 14.8 million Kenya shillings. He was arrested at Sikata town along Kandui-Webuye Highway in Bungoma County. He denied being in possession of the narcotics. Principal Magistrate Ajira Ayuka directed the matter be mentioned on 4th of July this year after the court receives a report from the government chemist.
In the meantime, you will be remanded in custody until the 4th July, when court shall have received the preparing report.
Elsewhere, PS State Department for Cabinet Affairs Julius Koril has poked holes into the P3 form that shows the injuries sustained by his estranged wife Evelyn Keroche.
There's no date on that document. There's no date when it was certified.
When he took to the witness stand as an expert witness, Dr. Kamau Mariga told the court that the injuries sustained by Evelyn were as a result of assault.
That date was filed on the 18th of September 2020. So we have grouped them in the subsequent years. So I'll get the 2020 on the September 18th.
And we're not saying that the document is fake. It's only that we can't ask the late where is the original, or is this your handwriting?
Kamau was testifying in a case where PS Koril is charged with assaulting his estranged wife while she was pregnant in 2020. The hearing continues on 27th June 2023. Meanwhile, Michael Mashari and Jerry alias DJ Brownskin on Tuesday sought a review of the orders and directions issued on Monday by Milimani Court.
They actually ensured he cannot communicate, even with his lawyers. They denied him access to any communication whatsoever.
Through his lawyer Duncan Okachi wants the court not consider the matter as a public interest but instead focus on the law.
Your Honor, that the person who was brought before you was supposed to have walked in here a free man. If court orders like the ones they were seeking before you are to be respected.
Chief Magistrate Lucas Onyina declined to hear the matter, citing a tight schedule. DJ Brownskin will remain in police custody. Ruth Wamboi for Prime Edition.
In a world filled with diverse shades of skin tones and colors, albinism stands as a unique genetic condition that challenges societal norms as well as perceptions. International Albinism Awareness Day, celebrated on the 13th of June every year, provides an opportunity for persons with albinism in promoting inclusion, understanding, and acceptance. John Kahiro sheds light on this.
It is a journey of life that has not been smooth. As a pupil in early primary school, it hit Mishe Kwekesa that he was not an ordinary child.
Growing up as a person with albinism wasn't that easy because starting at primary level, you find pupils are much curious to know why are you wearing hat, why are you wearing spectacles. You find out at some point they snatch the hat from you and even they take away your spectacles. So it wasn't that easy.
Wekesa is a musician who was featured on the global stage. He's a communication student and a crusader for rights of those with albinism.
I'm working as an assistant communication officer at Action Network for the Disabled, and I'm part of Black Albinism organization.
Some of the challenges that come with albinism, such as visual impairment, require special attention, these two posing another line of discrimination.
I use spectacles in reading, and also while I'm walking around the town, when it's sunny, I just use sunglasses to regulate the light.
But what really is albinism?
Albinism is a genetic disorder, not really a disorder, but it's a recessive gene whereby it manifests itself through the lack of skin pigmentation, whereby a person with albinism, it can manifest itself in different ways. Maybe there is lack of pigmentation at the eyes, pia kwa the skin, and also kwa macho.
Despite progress in raising awareness, social exclusion and discrimination against individuals with albinism remain a pressing issue in our society.
And there is also this myth whereby people believe in witchcraft, whereby they say if you take body parts of a person with albinism and you take them to a witch doctor, you can become rich, you can win an election, you can become prominent. And it's like there's a myth that says the blood of a person with albinism can make somebody become wealthy.
This has impeded the growth of potential talents.
As an artist, I face a lot of discrimination. You go for an event and you give out your name, but the MC just tell you that they will call you, but they don't recognize you. They just wait until the event is finished and they tell you that please try next time.
Misconceptions about albinism have contributed to exclusion and negative societal attitudes towards individuals with the condition. These misconceptions often arise from lack of understanding and mark the beginning of stigmatization for people with this condition.
The theme of this year for Albinism Awareness Day is about inclusion is strength. So when we talk about inclusion, we want to see inclusion in every workspace. We want to see inclusion at the national level and the county government.
To any parent or any guardian who feels maybe he or she is a parent to a person with albinism, they should not hide them, but they should give them opportunity to go to school and also support them if they are talented in one way or the other.
International Albinism Awareness Day serves as a great reminder of the unique challenges faced by individuals living with albinism, as well as celebrating their strengths, resilience, and contributions towards the society. It's therefore a call for us all to create a world that embraces diversity and inclusion for all individuals, despite their genetic makeup. For together, we can build a truly inclusive society. John Kahiro, KBC Channel 1, Nairobi.
Cheza Loto Moto 1100.
Kwa majina naitwa Alex Odur, natoka Kamulu. Na show leo imekuwa poa. Nilikuja na confidence nikijua naenda kuwin. Na nimewin 100,000 hizi hapa. Wale wanacheza Loto Moto waendelee, ni kitu ya ukweli. Loto Moto, endelea kucheza kila siku.
Usisahau kucheza Loto Moto. Shinda milioni 2 kila siku kwenye M-Pesa. Chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number weka 757070. Account number andika neno Loto. Weka kiwango chochote cha pesa kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi 2000. Lipa kisha subiri draw.
Colgate Herbal is formulated from a unique blend of natural herbs and is scientifically proven to strengthen teeth and keep gums healthy. Try Colgate Herbal, scientifically proven for strong teeth and healthy gums.
Huchagui familia yako, ni zawadi ya Mungu kwako kama ulivyozawadi kwao. Iwapo unakohoa, unahisi uchungu kwenye kifua, uchovu kila wakati, joto jingi mwilini, unakosa hamu ya kula au kupoteza uzito haraka bila kukusudia na kutokwa na jasho jingi usiku, waweza kuwa waugua TB. Nenda hospitalini ukapimwe. Ikibainika ya kwamba ni TB, utapewa dawa, na ukimeza vizuri ulivyoshauriwa na daktari, utapona. TB yaweza kuangamiza jamii yako. Usikubali. Matibabu ni bila malipo katika hospitali zote za serikali.
The maiden budget under the Kenya Kwanza administration. The 2023-2024 budget estimates will be presented in Parliament on Thursday by the National Treasury CS, Professor Njuguna Ndung'u. How will the government raise the money to implement its bottom-up transformation agenda to reignite the economy? Join KBC Channel 1 on Thursday from 10 a.m. as we unpack the key sector allocations and tax measures and their potential impact on the cost of living.
A very good evening to you. Thank you for watching Prime Edition here on KBC Channel 1. Time to get the latest in the world of business. My name is Betty Kiptum. Now, Kenya is losing about 150 billion shillings to counterfeiting annually, which has prompted the government to roll out the intellectual property rights recordation to stem the contraband goods. As Regina Manyara narrates, the value of illicit trade has hit the 1 trillion shillings mark.
Kenya's economic survey of 2023 indicates that the manufacturing sector slowed down to 2.7% in 2022 from 7.3% in 2021, while 34 companies have closed in the last 5 years due to stiff competition from cheap imports, including counterfeits.
And that has created another problem, because the only place where you can create jobs is industry. So if you are exporting raw materials, you're punching below your weight, you're only manufacturing 3%, and the population is growing at 5%, you have a disaster in waiting.
The worst hit sectors are building, mining and construction at 23%, energy, electrical and electronics at 15%, textiles and apparel at 14%, while plastic and rubber and metal and allied sectors each at 9%.
Did start a program we are calling the importation declaration of imports, what we are calling the recordation program, where we require the owners of intellectual property rights to record with us. And the essence of this was motivated by the fact that we wanted to ensure that we don't spend a lot of time chasing loose cargo once it gets into the country. We want to deal with the counterfeiting at the source. Before even those goods are imported to the country, we are able to deal with them at that point in time.
To address counterfeiting, players are calling for enhanced collaboration and stringent enforcement of deterrent measures.
So I think together in symposiums like this, conversations, partnerships, collaborations, looking at our legislative arm, enforcement arm and protection, we will be able to actually hopefully put this thing down. Like the chair said, they know them, and our work would really just to be able to enforce them, because we know the health, the risk, and the social erosion and financial erosion that counterfeiting gives to an economy.
So far, counterfeited goods worth 3.4 billion shillings have been seized in the last 5 years. Regina Manyara reporting for Prime Edition.
And Kenya's plan to reduce over-reliance on maize has presented itself as an opportunity for the Kenyan Indian community, who now want to venture into millet farming. The Indian community says Kenya has been a supportive host that has seen their businesses continue to thrive. Trevor Ngendo reports.
India is the third largest market that Kenya imports goods such as pharmaceuticals, steel products and machinery from. In 2022, Kenya imported goods worth 250 billion shillings from India and exported products worth 8 billion shillings. The Indian community in Kenya now hopes to increase investments in IT and millet farming to help reduce the trade imbalance that is in favor of India.
Of course, we know we're strong in manufacturing, but over the next 5 to 10 years, I think IT is going to be very important. Services are going to be very important. Agriculture, farming is going to be very important to us.
As time changes, we have a responsibility of continue to build Kenya.
During the commemoration of 75 years of India's independence, the Indian community in Kenya lauded the country for providing a supportive environment, fostering collaboration and partnership through bilateral agreements and cultural exchanges.
Diaspora can play a role in bringing us even closer, and more importantly in working with Kenya's priorities and India's capacities to see how we can align them.
So Kenya government is engaged in creating larger markets that go beyond Kenya for business people in Kenya. And so when Indian business people set up in Kenya, they basically are able to access a much larger market.
These celebrations in Nairobi focus on the Kenyan Indian community's contributions to the development in Kenya.
Hopefully, over the next few years, we want to increase the size of Indian investments into the country, of course, for the development of the nation, to increase jobs and to be in line with Kenya Kwanza's agenda of more job creation.
The Indian community in Kenya has a long history with the country and has made significant development in the country and contributed to the GDP, something that the Indian government attributes to good policies and welcoming of the business community in the country. Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition, Nairobi.
And the government will empower 10,000 youth over the next phase of the Ajira digital program. Skills Secretary in the Ministry of Labour and Social Protection, Dr. Wanjiru Kariuki, says through the Ajira digital platform, the selected youth will undergo training to skill and position them for online jobs.
Among the ways the government plans to tackle unemployment is by creating opportunities for the youth. The Ministry of Labour and Social Protection says 10,000 youth will be employed in the next financial year that starts next month following the launch of the Online Jobs Employment Skills Program.
The importance of this program is that once they gain the skills, they don't wait. They go straight into online employment. So that is the key idea, is that we give them the skills, they acquire the skills, and then we mentor them, and immediately they go into online employment.
The program targets youth enrolled under the Ajira digital program and will be skilled and positioned to tap the millions of online jobs.
Qualifications depends on your background. If it is data management, again, you look at the qualifications that you have that prepare you for that work. If it is something to do with software, then again, we look at the qualifications that prepare you for that work. So we are very flexible. We are not saying that we are tying them to specific qualifications.
The government is collaborating with the institutions of higher learning to offer online work career fairs, as well as embedded the Ajira digital clubs and curriculum to offer additional training and mentorship.
That is a good initiative by the government, because it's not just about showing us where the fish are, but also teaching us how to fish.
Yeah, but we are happy for the launch of the just launched program, because we are now in for supporting our own, especially in terms of training, because that's the most important thing, and then we can be competitive out there.
Frederick Muki for Prime Edition.
Now, the government has provided 1,000 scholarships through the ICT Authority to support training in digital marketing, e-commerce, data analytics, IT support, project management, user experience design, and cybersecurity. President William Ruto announced this during the closing ceremony of the 2023 YouTube Black Voices. During the event, President Ruto uploaded YouTube for investing in the expansion of opportunities through the YouTube Black Voices Fund to celebrate and promote black art and creativity worldwide.
Of Kenyans across all 47 counties in the country. These trainings will equip them with technical and entrepreneurial skills necessary to enable them to thrive as creative professionals.
I am grateful for your support for our plan to provide 25,000 free Wi-Fi hotspots across the country and the investment of $5 million to enable 90 government institutions install local area networks and to connect them to the national fiber optic backbone infrastructure. I look back on the journey we have traveled with Google with tremendous pride and satisfaction, grateful for the immense opportunities our partnership has unlocked for many creatives in Kenya. Affirmed by this achievement, I also look forward to greater collaboration to catalyze the digital superhighway and creative economy pillar of our bottom-up economic transformation agenda.
And the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD member states are being challenged to improve and strengthen governance structures of the Blue Economy agenda through efficient small-scale fisheries management and aquatic biodiversity conservation. According to IGAD, Africa is losing at least 15% of its GDP growth due to climate change. Hence, the need to partner with development partners to spur sustainable conservation and management of the blue resources.
Experts drawn from the blue economy, fisheries and aquatic development sectors of the 8 IGAD member states are in Mombasa County to deliberate on best practices that will promote the exploration of the blue economy sector through efficient small-scale fisheries management and aquatic biodiversity conservation. Despite financial interventions from several development partners, the economic revitalization of the sector is still slow.
Our projects have been intervening at local level. We now need to escalate them to a regional dimension.
With African countries losing 15% growth of its GDP to climate change, stakeholders say there is a dire need to turn to the blue's resources for food security.
Africa's blue economy can be and should be a major contributor to the continental transformation. It should contribute to the Africa's sustainable economic progress, and it should contribute to the development of our continent overall.
As it boasts of its strides undertaken over the years, Kenya is concerned of the growing setbacks such as excessive pollution as well as lack of regulatory frameworks to govern the institutions.
We need clean beaches, free of plastics, to allow tourism and biodiversity to thrive.
This forum will enable us to deliberate and chart the best ways forward. Secondly, it will forge links and establish lasting collaborations and also demystify our professional backgrounds and come up with a partnership for the sustainable development of blue economy.
Governors challenge the member states to develop strategies that will align with the region's thirst to create wealth and generate revenues by diversifying their traditional methods.
Let us bear in mind that our actions today will determine the Africa of tomorrow. We stand at the threshold of a transformative era, an era marked by growth, sustainability, and unity.
Juni Karisambele from Mombasa County.
Nakuru Senator Tabitha Karanja has stepped down as the Chief Executive Officer for Keroche Breweries after 25 years. Tabitha handed over the leadership of the firm to Chief Finance Officer Potas Anaya to focus on her role of being a senator and deputy minority leader.
But I decided to pick Potters, not because that is better than the others, but I feel, being from finance perspective, he'll be able to take up the brand because the production is back now fully, 100%. What now we need to do is to ensure that we open up the distribution.
As an organization at 25 years, we will continue with the entrepreneurial spirit and skills while constantly coming up with new products through innovation. Products that will meet the needs and demand of our consumers to precision.
We believe that now we'll have taken off, and we promise our customers the best in terms of products and in terms of service delivery.
And that's the business news this evening. But of course, Prime Edition continues. Sports news is coming up. Mboya is standing by for that. My name is Betty Kiptum. Do have yourself a lovely night. Bye-bye.
Aviator instant game. Be a daring pilot and earn by how much high you can lift the plane. The higher you fly, the higher your win. The sky is the limit. Mozart Bet.
Are you a holder of unclaimed financial assets? Surrender unclaimed financial assets today and avoid the last-minute rush. Take advantage of penalties and fines waiver ending June 30th, 2023. Report and surrender unclaimed financial assets today. For more information, visit our website www.ufaa.go.ke/holders or contact us through holders@ufaa.go.ke or call us on 020-402-3000. Do not wait for the June 30th, 2023 deadline. Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority. Receive, safeguard, reunite.
Welcome to East Africa. This is Safari Rally Kenya.
The WRC Safari Rally is set for June 22nd to June 25th in Naivasha. This year's event, the seventh leg of the WRC calendar, consisting of 19 stages, will see drivers, among them defending champion and series leader Khalid Vanpera, battle in what's considered as the toughest rally in the world. KBC Channel 1 will bring you the action to your living room, where a total of only 5 stages will be broadcast live on KBC Channel 1 and the Shakedown exclusive on our Facebook page. Catch the WRC Safari Rally on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
It is the cup with the golden ticket. Mozart Bet Cup, 2 million shillings. CAF Confederations Cup. Kuwa mshindi. Mozart Bet Cup.
Welcome to the Day Sports. I'm standing in for Daniel Wahome, who is away. President William Ruto has announced a new government reward package for Kenya sportsmen and women who excel at global assignments. The president said that going forward, any sports participant at a global event level who breaks the world record will be awarded 5 million shillings. I beg your pardon.
Speaking when he hosted double world record holder Faith Kipyegon and African's 100 meters record holder Ferdinand Omanyala for breakfast at State House, Nairobi, President William Ruto noted the world beaters will also be given diplomatic passports to enable them be Kenyan ambassadors to the world.
We're going to look for alternative sources of resources to be able to do that so that we can dedicate the Sports and Arts Fund to sports, to the creative economy, and to arts, so that we can promote the young men and women in that space, because they are doing a wonderful job in profiling our country positively.
Faith Kipyegon was rewarded with a 3-bedroomed house worth 6 million shillings and a cash reward of 5 million shillings after shattering the 1,500 and 5,000 meters world records at the Diamond League meets in Italy and Paris respectively.
Our young men and women can be motivated, because we already have the talent. We have the pool of talented resources in Kenya that can break any record. And going forward, we're going to work hand in hand with our athletes and support them. And
Kipyegon will now shift focus to defending a 1500 world title at the World Athletics Championships slated for August in Budapest, Hungary.
Thank you for the warm welcome, and thank you to the Kenyans who really supported me and cheering me wherever I was. I was not expecting today, is the truth. And with the money, I can say now I can buy my father a car. I promised him when I was going to break a world record that I'm going to buy a car for him. So now I can fulfill my promise.
Meanwhile, reigning African 100 meters record holder Ferdinand Omanyala also received a cash reward of 2 million Kenya shillings after a stellar performance at the Diamond League meets in Paris, where he finished second in men's 100 meters behind American's Noah Lyles. After receiving 5 million Kenya shillings in the house, Faith Kipyegon has urged all the athletes to give their best in order to keep the Kenyan flag high. For Prime Edition Sports, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
Chepngetich and Omanyala, they are putting us up there on the global map in sports. Rally driver Jeremiah Wahome is optimistic ahead of this year's edition of the WRC Safari Rally Kenya, set to zoom off on the 23rd all the way to the 25th in June in Naivasha. Wahome will be navigated by Victor Okundi in a Ford Fiesta Rally 3. KBC Channel 1, of course, will be broadcasting live the WRC Safari Rally Kenya.
As the clock ticks ahead of the WRC Safari Rally Kenya, youngster Jeremiah Wahome insists he is ready for the task ahead. Wahome believes the Equator Rally at the Machakos Rally Cross gave him a good platform to prepare for the global showpiece.
This also goes way beyond the Safari Rally. So it's not just the hype for Safari and then they go quiet, but throughout the year there's flights they provide. Whichever rallies we do out of the country, they're always there ready to help us travel and help us come back. So it really means a lot.
He will be navigated by Victor Okundi in a Ford Fiesta Rally 3. Kenya Airways CEO Alan Kilavuka lauded Wahome and urged more junior drivers to join the sport.
We also want to acknowledge and cement our partnership and relationship with FIA, with motorsports in Kenya, with WRC Safari Rally, and to affirm our commitment to continue supporting not just young talent, but also sports in general.
Kenya Motorsports Federation CEO Phineas Kimathi confirmed that foreign drivers will start arriving in Kenya before Saturday.
This means a lot. It means that the future is safe. We have future champions with us. They are champions today in their own right. And next year and the years to come, we're guaranteed that we're going to have great drivers driving in our great events.
This year's edition of the WRC Safari Rally will be held from the 23rd to 25th in Naivasha. KBC Channel 1 will broadcast live the WRC Safari Rally.
Venezuela Football Club defeated Kitaka Football Club 1-0 to win the Shishi Fashions Super Cup at Shika Adabu Primary School, that's in Likoni constituency, Mombasa County. A total of 32 teams drawn from Mombasa County participated in the one-month tournament.
Captain Mohamed Chaka's goal in the second half was enough to silence Kitaka FC in the entertaining final. The final was a culmination of one-month-long competition that started with the group stages. Following the win, Vaiskula pocketed 30,000 while Kitaka, who were the first runners-up, walked away with 25,000 shillings.
Kuanzisha hii tournament nilitaka kukuza talenti za vijana, na ndio ilikuwa lengo kuu langu, na sitaki kuishia hapa. Mimi malengo yangu nataka tusogee mpaka wanawake wao watajua elimu. Sitaki ligi iwe tu ya wanaume peke yake.
The second runners-up, Siren FC, were also rewarded with 10,000 shillings. A total of 32 teams participated in the tournament. For Prime Edition, I'm Sela Onyango.
And that's sports.
wake up with the golden ticket. Mozart Bet Cup, 2 million shillings. CAF Confederations Cup. Kuwa mshindi. Mozart Bet Cup.
Kenya Kwanza administration. The 2023-2024 budget estimates will be presented in Parliament on Thursday by the National Treasury CS, Professor Njuguna Ndung'u. How will the government raise the money to implement its bottom-up transformation agenda to reignite the economy? Join KBC Channel 1 on Thursday from 10 a.m. as we unpack the key sector allocations and tax measures and their potential impact on the cost of living.
Well, before we let you go, remember scorecard is coming up. Mariambo is on standby. They're going to look at some numbers, whether they're seesawing. You don't want to miss that. So make sure you join us inside the next 5 minutes. Now, before we let you go, of course, I want to thank you on behalf of the Prime Edition team for watching. My name is Mboya, and we leave you with military tales. Having joined the Kenya Navy in 2003, Sergeant retired Reverend Stephen Ojwang, was involved in key operations, those operations including unearthing of drug cartels in the coastal city of town, and those fighting piracy along Kenya's coastline. So this week on Military Tales, we're going to leave you with the Kenya Defense Forces general who also did some work in the space of photojournalists. I'm Mboya. Good night and enjoy your viewing.
I'm Sergeant retired Reverend Stephen Ojwang. I'm an ex-military officer. That is, I'm a veteran. I was enlisted in 2003 and I retired on compassionate grounds in 2021. I was enlisted also to come and join Ulinzi as a martial arts practitioner and also as a technician. When I joined, I served for less than 2 years as a technician, and then I became the Kenya Navy coach for Taekwondo, where I served all the way to the Ulinzi team. And I didn't stay long again in Taekwondo as a martial arts. Thereafter, I got an opportunity to become part of the Defense Military Intelligence by selection and training. So I became a field intelligence officer, and at the same time, I also practiced intelligence journalism, where I learned matters photography and video. Working for the Kenya Navy, I was privileged to be part of the team and also the pioneers of anti-piracy along the coastline, and also fighting drug cartels and drugs within the coast. The second highlight happens in 2012 when I was also again engaged and privileged to be part of the team that was to prepare and also advise accordingly in matters Al-Shabaab, and finally the capturing of Kismayo team at town. My last highlight would be in my service within the same unit and at the Kenya Defense Forces, where again I transited to becoming the chaplain as a catechist within the Defense Forces. The main concern is about capturing of images, which basically is used for as a collection tool. At the same time, we use it for various activities in terms of capturing and covering of our events and functions. And in the process of doing that, the most interesting part is when now you have to capture either operations which are security related, and finally you have to go to the war areas or prepare for war. My interest in becoming a priest or finally a catechist chaplain in the military was informed when I was a young boy, coming from a background that I was not privileged as I grew up within the suburbs of Mathare, and one of the local churches, that is Redeemed Gospel Church and Archbishop Kitonga, took me to school, and so I loved church, and finally that is how I began following Matters Church. One, my role is both moral, in terms of helping the soldiers to be able to live a moral life. We also look into matters moral, because when the soldiers have any issue as a chaplain or as a priest, you're the first person they will run to. And so we are able to check into their morale in terms. We are there for their morale, and of course to encourage them, especially during the war times that when we were getting in Somalia in 2012. We'll pray for them, encourage them, walk with them, and show them that we are doing a noble cause. God is part of what we are doing. We are not in any way doing anything sinister, and assure them that as we are going, we will come back safely. The biggest challenge is seeing my patrols leaving for patrol. That is a special force unit, and when they come, you hear one down, X-ray. And you have to go to them and encourage them and pray for them and tell them that in the evening we are having another patrol and we have to go, and yet you are one man down. And in the evening again you have to prepare, go for the next patrol. When you talk of giving your life as a sacrifice, of course it affects also your colleagues. Like when I lost in 2013, 2014, I stayed with a team. And then finally thereafter in 2015, the same team that I served with for over 2 years, during our Eladi attack, they were all swept away, they died. I almost lost my life. I remember when we began anti-piracy along the coastline, that it is 2 in the morning, it is dark in the oceans, and you are approaching a ship that is foreign and you don't even know how equipped they are. And you have to get there as a photographer. The best you have is your pistol and your cameras. And you have to board this ship, and it is at night. I remember we were working with one senior officer, and we slipped off. You know, I left the rail and then I slipped off and fell into the waters. Of course, there's a Navy personnel, you're a swimmer, and I did diving as part of my training. My actions were justified by my faith that if I take any legal measures against you in matter security, I've not violated my role as a priest. I've only done the right thing, and that is, I think, what God also would wish of all of us. I came out to do matter security and consultancy, where I trained security companies and guards, and also do consultancy in farms and institutions. At the same time, I told you that when I was joining the Defense Forces, I was a black belt taekwondo holder as a coach. And so I've come out again to coach young minds, that is the children. I'm doing primary level taekwondo training. I realized that I had given my best, and I stand tall today that even my bosses, including the current Chief of Defense Forces, whom I worked with when he was just a base commander in Laikipia Air Base, would attest that this boy was giving his best. War is very expensive, and only those who know how expensive war is are those who have been in war and still are in war areas. Let's all embrace peace. Let's love each other. Let's embrace each other. We might differ in ideologies and the way we want to think, but that is not a source of enmity.